All right, we will have fun, and all of you will have fun, and you'll have the opportunity to learn, get value, and we're here to make a difference for you. So, hello, Heartrepreneur family. I think you know who I am. I have a special guest with me today, John Sadeh, and I have to tell you, he is absolutely one of the most fun client family members that I get the privilege of working with. And let me tell you why. Number one, he's a wealth, and I do mean a wealth of knowledge and information. He has given me knowledge and information. He is so willing to transfer knowledge and information and to help others. I've referred him to other client family members who are digging him. And the other thing that I absolutely love is he can laugh at himself. He can play, he can laugh at himself. So welcome everyone. Let us know where you're from. Be sure to comment so we can stay connected. Hi, Ken, good to have you. And those of you who come in, just give StreamYard permission to use your name so we know who we're talking to, which is always helpful. And we're here as well to answer questions. As I said, you have a fountain of knowledge here. So John, I'm going to let you do a little intro and we'll turn the focus over to you for a bit and then I'll be back.
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to take that information you just gave me. I'm going to play this for my wife, I think, every morning. So, because I have what I call my Ron Burgundy moments with her. If you ever saw the movie Anchorman, where I say, well, hello, honey, I'm kind of a big deal. People know me. I'm totally going to have to play this for her. But and thanks so much. I mean, first of all, it's a pleasure being here with you. And the sentiment, genuinely the sentiment, it goes in reverse as well, where when you find a servant leader, someone who is genuinely and transparently concerned about the growth and of the individual, not necessarily just their business, because we know it's the individual that leads the company. And so the Heartrepreneur name, not only does it really is in sync. It's not a marketing piece. It truly is true. So Terry, I just want to give you kudos for that. And I always do appreciate that. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. I won't, do a big pitch on myself. If you want to look that up, you can go to my website. You can look all that other stuff up, and that's great. But I'm here today as serving you. Maybe something I say will help you out. Maybe it'll help you if there's something that you're stuck with. It'll help you maybe get unstuck. Maybe there's a value of something that you're in your life, in your personal life, your business life, that say, hey, boy, that really makes sense. And if that's great, awesome. Then this has been a successful call. But I've been helping people for over 25 years. And quite frankly, even before that, I was raised around very entrepreneurial families. My father was the first to go to college, got all the degrees, and eventually went back and owned his own company. He's had that for over 50 years. He was in a very much in the leadership world, has helped thousands and thousands of people all over the world. So I saw servant leadership modeled. I saw what it took to pour into people time and time and time again. And it wasn't about the money. The money is a byproduct. The vast majority of people he spent the time with, maybe they didn't make huge sums of money in their life, but he made a difference, making them a better husband or wife or sister or brother, maybe a better boss. So that is, I've tried to instill that into everything that I've done in business. And when I went to work I was an athlete. I was a soccer player, for those of you around the world. I'm sorry, football. So I played that. I actually stopped playing a few years ago after a couple, snap, crackle, pops. Enough. Okay. So from all the things I've learned in sports, all the companies I work for, I work for a global company called Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Many people have heard of that. Very entrepreneurial company. I was in short time in the Rent-A-Car in the fleet management division, in my 20s, running an 8-figure division, complete P&L responsibility down to how many pens we bought and printer contracts. It was amazing experience, and meeting with over 1,500 owners of companies from large to small. And because you're in the financial world, you see behind it. You see what makes these companies work. And then I owned a mortgage company for a number of years and some other companies. And we had a very successful company in the mortgage business. We sold that effectively, had a good exit from that a few years ago. And my passion, though, has always been small to medium business owners, because we are, all of us, myself included, Terry included, we are the lifeblood of the global economy. It's not the Microsofts of the world and the Amazons of the world. Those are all great, but we are the lifeblood of it. And to be able to pour into so many companies, 100, 200 companies just in the last year alone, most of which, by the way, were not clients of mine. I just saw a need in the market. There's a lot of people that were, they were having some challenges. Not everyone. A lot of people actually had a lot of success going on, and their challenge was, wow, there's so much influx, they need to grow and scale. But to be able to meet a need with the resources, the knowledge, the tools, the skills, and more importantly, genuinely caring about their success. Because I understand what it's like to be a business owner. It's hard. It's hard sometimes. And so anyone that doesn't know that, so anyway, so thanks.
And I want to also thank John. He happens to be in one of the places that I live part of the year. He's in Mexico in the Riviera Maya area, Cancun. And he's taking time away from a conference to join us. And yeah, the Wi-Fi isn't always the best in Mexico. However, we'll make this work. So what leads you to do the kind of work that you do now? And who is an ideal client? And what is your like dream of waking up and helping the people that you help?
Sure. Well, who I help, as I mentioned, traditionally is the small and medium business owner, someone that's been established, you've been around for 2, 3, 4, 5 years or longer. You had a dream, you had a passion, you saw this idea and you couldn't imagine that this wouldn't work. So you jump into the entrepreneurial world and you start your business, and maybe you've had some success, but you kind of got stuck. In the corporate world, they call this thing the Peter principle. You get promoted to your level of incompetency. In the business world, we hit that a little faster sometimes because you realize, it's not my skill is got to be about people, processes, pricing, products. It's not necessarily the tactic. I can turn wrenches if I'm a mechanic, but running a repair shop is very different. So being able to step into these businesses and helping them see a little bit bigger, that's a passion area. The other area is because, as I mentioned, it is the largest employer in the world is our niche. And it's one of the least effectively supported groups that I've seen out there. There's lots of help. There's lots of experts. There's lots of inch deep, mile wide strategies, typically given from someone who has no business experience or very little, couldn't read a P&L if their life depended on it, and they don't have the emotional connection, what it takes to when you're making a big investment, you're hiring people, you're signing a lease for 10 years, all the emotional connection that goes along with that. You can only explain it. I have empathy, not just sympathy. So when I'm able to get in there, I can truly say, yeah, I get it. So the passion really and what we've tried to do. So these established business owners, I typically like the ones that have, you've gotten into your multiple 6 and maybe crossing in the 7-figure range and beyond, which funny enough, Terry, as you know, that's very few.
Yeah. Let's speak to that for a second. It's a very interesting concept because everyone talks about, I'm going to grow 7-figure business. And the odds are, and saying this lovingly and honestly, that you're not. Only a very small percentage of business owners have done that. Now, as you know, and you and I have talked about, yes, I've done that successfully. And I know how to do it, and it's repeatable and it's formulaic. However, not everyone is willing to follow the implementation steps, right? Because what John said is so important. It is hard. It doesn't just happen. And I see so many of what I call false experts that are online going, oh, well, all you have to do is this and you'll make $1 million. I'm like, no, probably not. However, I do think that getting to your first 6 figures, if you have a proven formula, can be relatively easy. And from there, it's a very different kind of business owner that's doing 100 grand and one that's doing 500,000 and one that's doing $1 million and one that's doing 3 million. So I think it's important. I love that, like, you're speaking truth and you're speaking fact. So what are some tips that you would give to folks that you will give to folks that are watching who are like, okay, I really do want to figure it out. And how do I know how to do that? Or where do I turn for that?
Sure. Depending on where you're at right now, that's a great question. I would truly say, do you know what business you actually have? Know what business you're in. Okay. It's kind of like sometimes your product is not your product. Do you know what your market is? Are you kind of like, as we've used this phrase, the spray and pray philosophy of marketing? Well, I can help everyone, which means you're only helping certain people a certain amount of time. And raise your hand. I've been there. We've all been there as you're trying to figure that out. That's part of the process. So that's okay if that's where you're at. You do, though, need to eventually kind of start to narrow this down, and you need help. You ask anyone, it's like, for example, having a gym membership is not going to get me fit. Okay. Okay. I have this program. Boy, this entrepreneur group is great. I get all these great information, but knowledge without application actually creates more, it'll paralyze you more than it will equip you. And as a self-proclaimed overthinker, which I am, one of the things Terry's done really been good for me is like, am I thinking about it too much? Yep. Okay, thanks, Terry. Go on. Okay. So if you want to grow fast, you're going to need people who catch into your vision. You have to know what that is. You have to know the business you have today. Is it what you want? Because I've done this. Even in my consulting company, I started building a certain direction and we were having a lot of success, but there just something wasn't resonating with me. It wasn't connecting. And I had to make the tough decision to roll it back. And that's not always easy to do.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the business you have today. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you said, so many accurate things. I saw that Regina commented, analysis paralysis. I see that with a lot of business owners. They're like afraid to move forward. And so they're thinking and they're not sure, is this the right action? That's one of the things. Velma captured your knowledge without application will paralyze rather than equip you. By the way, John, I'd love to see you make a meme of that and put it all over, because that is like really, really profound. Melissa's agreeing with you. So true. Yeah. So let's say somebody here is like resonating with you and resonating with your message. What does it look like when you work with a client? I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, we had talked about, I have a program I'm launching in a couple of weeks for this thing, because, I had mentioned, I spoke with over 150, almost 200 companies in the last year alone, just to really, I analyzed what was making those that really took off, even in industries where you hear the industry is tanking, but yet their business is taking off. Those that were able to stabilize and pivot. One of the things I do is it's like even the first week of this program is analyzing where you are. There was a phrase by an amazing leader that I grew up around. Her name was Nancy Dornan, and she says, if you don't watch where you're going, you're going to end up where you're headed. And I love that phrase. And it's so much we have to take stock of, where are we? Okay. You have to look at that. And where do you want to get to? And then you're going to need to invest some time, effort, and possibly even resources to someone that is not emotionally connected to you to help you see the forest from the trees. We all need it. We've gone to our parents for that, but in business, it can be very lonely. And John Maxwell used to always say, if you ever see a turtle on top of a fence post, he didn't get there by himself. He had some help. And so start with that. Then because we tend to be too critical of ourselves more often than people tend to be too narcissistic. More often people tend to be too critical of themselves. So you need to find out what's working. I know, Terry, that's one of the questions you asked. What's working? What's not working quite right? What's not quite right yet? Those are great questions to ask and look at it, because you could have, do you have too many products or services or too few? Do you have a concentration issue where you have one client, 2 clients, 3 clients making up 50+% of your business? That's a risky business. You're actually you work for them and you have some side project with these other companies. Yeah. Do you know your numbers? Do you know your numbers? I have an entire course on that, but the point is you got to start with if you're going to go in for the doctor, I want to run a marathon, they have to diagnose it and you got to do that yourself. So start there. I do want to add though too, once you know what that is, you have to look at your team. Do you have the resources and the people around you to get you to that next level? Yeah. If you don't, go out and find them. Yeah. And here's one thing it was drilled into me, and we all still struggle with this from time to time, is cost versus investment. Sometimes, how much does it cost? And sometimes can be a catchy answer, says, well, I don't know what it costs. I can tell you what the investment is. I can't tell you the cost of this if you don't do this. That could be far greater than what this investment is right now.
Yeah, let me speak to some of this for a moment. And we're getting great feedback from everyone. So keep the comments coming. We love it. It's interesting. I was just talking to somebody and they said to me, do you have a mentor right now? I said, I have 8 consultants. They go, why would you have 8? I'm like, well, the reason I've had 8 multi-million-dollar businesses isn't me. It isn't. I am very transparent about that. Yes, I have a proven system now that I can go implement. However, My very first business, I was a speech language pathologist who came out with a master's degree. I could treat patients, but there weren't any because I didn't know how to get them. And I really struggled in that business to the point I almost had to close the doors. And talking about cost versus investment, I had no money. Came out of college. My husband and I had debt. We didn't come from wealthy homes. And I went and I paid for a mentor by the name of Zig Ziglar. If you don't know his name, where have you been? And I took a small business loan to do that. And I was risking at the time with my husband and I literally was risking like all the financial resources that we had.
Yeah.
When I did that, my business changed. I grew a 7-figure business, which like in 1980 something was a lot of money. And why do I have 8 right now? And I want to really address this. You cannot do this alone. If you're going to build a house, do you start doing the building and do everything, or do you get subcontract who are specialists and who could help you? So yes, I have someone that works with my relationship. I have someone that works with my humor. I have someone that works with me for my own business who is, I can't say his name. He's a sir and he has a private island. That's all I can say. So, there's people that work in every direction. I have a health and wellness consultant. I have a fitness consultant. I could go on and on. So I love what Velma said. Consultants are the legs that keep our table stable. And a table with 8 legs is strong. So, somebody asked me the other day, and I think this is relevant. They're like, do you ever refer other clients of yours that are business coaches or business consultants to your own clients? And I went, yes. And you know that I do, right? Because you've got
Absolutely.
some. And they're like, why would you do that? I'm like, because we all specialize in something different. And John, because he understands me and my process, he could take my clients and advance them in the areas that they need advancement. So I'm really encouraging people to find a way, number one, to get to know John. And number two, I'm going to let him talk about, how to do that and where to do that. I don't usually come here and endorse people, right? I come here, I do interviews. The only people that get to do what John and I are doing are people that I've extended my hand to and said, you can create a lot of value. And there's almost 7,000 people in here for us to help. All right. So over to you.
Wow. Well, yes. I hope people are taking notes on this, and we'll come back and make this again. Truly, I'm going to. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I thought it would be rude if I grabbed my phone and started typing notes as Terry's talking. As you mentioned, I'm here in Mexico, and we're some elite business coaches and consultants and different people from around the world. And what's interesting is when you get around the top 5-10% of anything. Now, if you look at the top 10% of the world, typically employs the other 90%. Mm-hmm. So when you get around the top 10, it's not necessarily skill. It's not necessarily always experience. It's how they think. Mm-hmm. It's this the battlefield of the mind, the 6 to 8 inches. We all battle that. Now, you do have to have a good product. You have to have good service. You have to have some hiring things. So when someone wants, one of the things that I realized, and especially in this last couple of years, there are opportunities everywhere. You want to know how to double, possibly even triple your business in the next 18 to 24 months? Number one, be positive or be quiet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to go back to like chicken soup of the soul, what we heard in kindergarten. It's really simple stuff. There's enough negativity and fingers pointing all over the place. People forgetting they have 3 more pointing back at them. So just be positive, be quiet. Number 2, catch people doing things right. That includes within your own team. It doesn't mean business is not a lack of stress. It's how you react to it. It's how you deal with it. It's how you either channel it or let it consume you. And we all can be, so watch your environment, watch who you're associated with, watch the environment that if you're, in the morning I turn on the news, don't underestimate what that is doing to your psyche. I even got called on that recently by a good friend of mine, really successful friend of mine. And he said to me, he says, you've got an edge. Has this been going on for a while?
Oh, I love that. I love that. We all need to be called out. And by the way, that's what I always give my coaches and consultants permission. Like, I can't see what I can't see. And so I always say to them, these are my words, tell me when I say or do something, just say your baby's ugly. Because most people won't tell you that. So I want to go over to Melissa for a minute. She said, wow, I need suggestive help with numbers, accounting. What do you suggest? Do you have a response for her, John?
Yeah. First of all, if you don't have a good accountant, and I stress good, find one. Okay. QuickBooks is great. Someone who actually understands the numbers is better. Okay. Because there's really only three main numbers. You got revenue, gross profit, net profit, but you got basically you got your gross profit. You're looking with that. Look at your fixed cost, look at operating costs, and there's your profit, whatever's left over. So it's not super complex, but if you don't understand an income statement or P&L, you don't understand the balance sheet, do cash flow analysis, you don't know how to do that, hire someone that does. And don't be penny wise and dollar foolish, where if you invest $500 or $1,000 or somebody to help you with that, and they help you, what if they just help you save $10,000 in taxes? Good investment. Okay. So you need good attorneys. You need good accountants. You need good mentors. And you're going to hear this. Terry says it all the time. I say it all the time. I have invested hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in my own personal development over the years. And I'm not over exaggerating. I legitimately have. And it's helped me generate millions and millions of dollars of revenue in the different businesses that I've had. So understand, and it's not because I understand it. Ooh, that's kind of like as a CEO, when I look at a business, I'll look at your business and say, oh, that's a great idea. Who can we get to run that other than you? Okay. Yeah. Who do you have as talented? Maybe if someday you want to sell your business, that's part of my first conversation. It's weird. I'll start off a lot of times, Jerry, maybe you do this, say, so what's your exit strategy? What's your plan to exit?
I love that. Business? Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You're like, what?
I'll share that. I saw this on Facebook yesterday or today, and it's in a coaching group. And somebody said, is anybody selling their coaching business? And somebody wrote in, no one sells a coaching business. That's impossible. I'm like, I've helped sell 7 of them. And at some point I may sell mine, or I may pass it down to my family as a legacy. I don't really know, but don't start a business unless you have an exit strategy. Otherwise, you're simply making money in a hobby and you don't have a plan. And I'll tell you, frankly, my goodness, 18 years ago, suddenly I got a neurological disease, RSD, and I was unable to work for 18 full months. I was, I don't even want to talk about it. It was not a pleasant time in my life, and I was unable to work. The money kept rolling in. Okay. In fact, I made more money by not working because I had set up my company that it could run without me. I wasn't trading time for money. So what John is sharing is so important. And Melissa, I'm glad you asked the question you asked. It's just one tip of the iceberg piece that John can help you with. And I really want to say to people, number one, engage with John. He's very active here in the group and he'll respond to you. He'll answer questions. And then I'm going to also have John tell you all how you can engage even deeper and further. Feel free to ask questions. Sorry to interrupt, John.
No, that's great. And I know you asked me how to engage, and sometimes, I really just want to make sure I'm pouring into people. The reality is, when you hear people about an overnight success, it's typically 20, 30 years in the making. You hear sometimes, or maybe 5, 10 years in the making. There isn't such thing as an overnight success. You show me somebody overnight success. So I hit the 2 comma this or blah, blah, blah. Many times those people are broke, 18 months later, because they didn't have the foundations of success and the principles put in place. If you want to build a business, I will tell you this, because I did a lot. I started my business a number of years ago while running other companies, doing financial consulting and coaching for individuals. Owning a mortgage company, I've seen thousands and thousands of people's financials, and we were the anti-mortgage company. We would say things like, just because you can get a home doesn't mean you should. We literally positioned ourselves differently, which is one of the things I'm going to teach. I teach all my clients. If you look like everyone else and you sound like everyone else, you are like everyone else, and you wonder why you're in a price war, you're not making any money, your margins, and you're constantly churning your marketing budget's out of control, your value proposition's garbage. I shouldn't say garbage, not great. So we really kind of look into that. That's a big part of what I work with them on. So, and especially coming from that world, the mortgage industry, online, we started online as well. We were generating significant amount of volume for a very small staff. Matter of fact, when we went to sell the company, we were doing about 60% of their volume with 31 employees, and they had 375. Mm-hmm. And we were about 61% of their volume. Profit potential is much greater on a percentage wise. So when you're looking at your numbers, you're looking at your business, looking where you want to go, know where you want to go, and then back it up. Then let's start taking a look at where you're at and then putting some places. Part of the program we kind of talked. I don't know if I should bring that up now or.
Yeah,
that I'm
yeah,
kicking off
please
the
go ahead. Yes, 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 yes.
it was the need that I saw in the market. I was like, oh my gosh, these foundational elements, people are just missing some of the foundational 6 to 8 kind of key things, and it's different, and they need collaboration. We being isolated has told us all one thing: we are meant to be in collaboration and community with others, and nothing is. Don't isolate yourself. There's nothing worse than that. That's why solitary confinement is kind of the worst thing you can do in jail sometimes. So get around. So I saw this need for some foundational pieces that you can actually build that skyscraper and build it relatively quickly. But if your foundation isn't there, it's going to tip over. It's going to crash. It's going to fall. We've all seen that. So I put a program together after all these conversations, all the history. I said, man, these are the things people need to work with. And I'm calling it a pilot program. It's not that the information's new, but it's been put together in this intensive called a rapid revenue growth intensive. Now, the revenue, full transparency, is a byproduct of all the stuff we're going to talk about. I'm not going to say, here's $1, here's how to make 2. Here's how to build a successful company. And if you do these principles right, you'll get a multiple. Don't have these principles in place, you might see a spike, but you're going to be peaks and valleys, as opposed to, the business is not like this. It's not like that. It's kind of like this, down, over. But business is also not like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay. Yeah. So we want to get those. And so it is intense. I'm going to, for 6 weeks, I'm going to pour into a select group of people. You've got to be a committed business owner. You have to seriously want to grow. You've got to be around. You're not brand new. I mean, if you're brand new, God bless you, man, go for it. I encourage you. Nothing else, get the tax write-off right now. Lord knows you're going to need it. So, if you especially have a job. So, but if you're a business owner who wants to see 2022 and beyond in a whole nother level, and see what actually the select few are actually doing to have this growth. And when you sit there and you look at your competitor, you look at certain people, and if you caught yourself saying, I know I'm smarter than him or her, what am I not doing? You need someone to step in and help you identify that. And in 6 weeks, we're going to identify how to do that. We're going to get the foundational pieces. We're going to get into some metrics. We're going to be transparent and open. So I need you to be honest. You need to be willing to be collaborative. You have to be accountable. You have to do the work. If you're not doing the work, please respect yourself, respect myself. Don't be a part of this. Okay. Just don't. But if you are, and you really want to grow, I'm going to pour my time, my resources, and bring in and help you guys get a foundation that's a year from now, you won't even recognize it.
So I'm going to say this. I personally know the kind of value you bring. And so if anyone is sitting here and saying, I don't know what I don't know, and that's one of the biggest problems. We don't know what we don't know. And a lot of what I see, John, is people imitating what everybody else is doing. Oh, well, that's what so-and-so is doing, so I'll just do that. It doesn't mean, number one, that it's working for them. And number two, a lot of things that work for so-and-so may not work for you. So how do people get into this program? Because 6 weeks in a program like this can really be not just business changing, life changing. It can set them up on that solid foundation so they don't build a house that falls apart.
Oh, absolutely. So I have a website you can go to. It's called fastrevenuegrowth.com. Fastrevenuegrowth.com. And if you go to that site, there's information on there. There's my wonderful smiling face in a video here. That's there. I recorded, you got up there. And by the way, if you're in video creation, I know it should be better. Okay. I know this. But here's tip number 1 before you have to come to class. Something out there moving is better than talking about, thinking about, planning about something and not having something in action.
Amen.
Okay, so go to that, just so you know, and Terry, you're aware what clients will invest with us for, one-on-one, or it is a fraction, an absolute fraction of what we normally would charge for something like this. And it's done intentionally because it is this pilot. I want it to be very collaborative. We're going to relaunch it again coming in 2022. But I want to get this feedback. And at that point, it'll be significantly more expensive. So if now's the time, it's fourth quarter. It's fourth quarter 2021. Let's go for it. Let's go for, the growth and everything else that we're looking for. And if you want to make this a foundational year, Joel Osteen used to have this phrase that, a setback is a setup for a comeback. If that's you, the last couple of years have kind of knocked you around a little bit, then what I want you to do is just say, all right, enough is enough. I call it my Popeye moment. That's all I can stand. I can't stand no more. And just go to work. Then join us. Have fun. It's going to be fun. You're going to grow. You're going to have an awesome time, and you'll be so thankful that you did. And if I'll throw this out there, if you don't think you got your money back by 1, 2, 3 times, tell me, I'll refund your money. I've never had to refund money once. Okay. But I'll throw that out there. If you don't think you got value out of this, you show up, you do the work, you're doing what you need to do, and you're coming in, you don't think you got, the value. Oh my gosh. Let me know. I'll refund your money. But
So
yeah,
number
never had
one,
that.
I know that people will get the value. I know that. And number two, you are offering it for a fraction of what it really could and should be. And I love it. FastRevenueGrowth.com. So if you want fast revenue growth, just in the comments, whether you're watching the replay or with us live, because we're going to end in just a moment or so, just in the comments, put fast revenue growth, and John will connect with you as well. And go over to the site. Don't miss that. Everyone is like raving about it. Mia, really glad you came and showed up. Mia's like, the program sounds amazing. Velma goes, so your program is a can of spinach. If it makes us strong, yeah, let's do it. So, John, I want to thank you. And you stepped out from a conference. You're where there isn't great Wi-Fi. And I started at the beginning by saying this, John is just roll with it, be positive, go with it.
Well, I don't know if we just lost or you just left, but I don't know. We might have lost you, Terry. You still there?
Yeah, booted me out of the studio for a minute. I'm like, what's going on? I'm booting me out. So I just want to say, one of the many things I love about you is that you're just a fun, happy, let's go get this done. And I know that when people are in the program, it's going to make a difference for them. So any quick last word before we sign off?
Thanks for everything on your end, too. Your support, your encouragement for everyone out there. That's servant leadership. I truly say that. And like you said, I'm serious when I have to be, but life's too short. You got to have fun. My wife, as I said, is our CFO, our family CFO, our chief fun officer. She's an elementary school teacher. So if I ever get a little too serious, she reels me in. So if you want to have some fun, because listen, at the end of the day, more money isn't going to make you happy. Money gives you choices that can make you comfortable. So I recommend make as much as you can if you have the ability while staying true to who you are and making values-based decisions that build a business you want. Not that I say, not that Terry says, not that your competitors say, build what you want. Let's identify what that is and help you get there. And then you're going to have the lifestyle and success that you're looking for, because that's what it really comes down to.
Amen. Thank you so much. This has been such a valuable half hour. Those of you who are here live, just comment underneath. You know what to say, fast revenue growth. And those of you who come back and watch the replay, yeah, I agree, Denise. I know it's a fabulous program, and John is guaranteeing your success, and believe me, he will. John, thank you. Keep enjoying Mexico. I'll be there in a few days.
Awesome. I'll keep the beaches warm for you.
I'll do it. Bye for now, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Bye-bye.